Hello to all the vultures in our pretty garden. I'm Kristen,
My God, I'm Matt.
I'm Joey.
and we are introverted but willing to discuss Tori Amos. We have an episode both savory and sweet because we're being joined by cookbook author, photographer, food stylist, recipe architect, gardener, and all-around lovely human being, Timothy Pakron, who you may also know as Mississippi Vegan. His acclaimed cookbook of the same name reimagines Southern, Cajun, and Creole cuisine using solely plant-based ingredients, featuring over 100 recipes inspired by the food, land traditions, and family that defined his Mississippi Gulf Coast childhood. His work celebrates place, memory, art, and rethinking the very concept of comfort. What we love about Timothy's craft is that it feels deeply grounded and rooted, but never stuck. He creates magical, nourishing, edible works of art that are truly feasts for the senses. And behind the scenes, if you didn't know already, he's a huge Tori Amos fan. His near spiritual communion with his ingredients, most culled from his own vegetal ecosystem in his New Orleans background, not unlike our favorite redhead's intimate dialogues with her piano. And in a magical twist of fate, it has all led up to his forthcoming book, Garden Variety, being endorsed by none other than Tori herself. So we're going to follow and pull on that fertile thread from the songs and performances that shaped him to the garden he's grown around his own creative life to the very full circle moment when Tori found her way into his story and he into hers. Join us as we show you the things you've been missing, show you the ways you forgot to be speaking, show you the ways to get back to the garden. Timothy, we're so happy you're here. Welcome to the podcast.
Yay. Welcome.
Thank you so much. This is such a treat. And before I became friends with y'all, I actually was a huge fan of the podcast. And I found y'all, I think it was over a year ago. So I've listened to every episode, and it's an honor to be here. It really is.
Well, you're
It's
so
great to
sweet.
have you. Thank
That's
you.
so nice. Thank you.
I know. And I love food so much. So when I saw Mississippi Vegan followed me, I was like, hell yeah. Time to get cooking.
Well, and I was tickled when because I'd been listening to y'all. And so I was like, let me go see, because I found y'all on YouTube. That's how I found the podcast. And then I was like, after a while of listening, I was like, okay, let me go check them out on Instagram, see what's going on. And then I did a deep dive, and then I saw that you were following me. And then it was like, it was exciting because I had no idea that you knew who I was. And so, yeah, so it just, and then we became quick friends, and it's been so lovely. And I've explained to Kristen before, it's like when I first started listening to Tori and I started going to her shows, I saw the connection that the fans had, and they were older than me. And I was really jealous because I could see this camaraderie and this excitement that they were living. I could tell that they were like following Tori, and I was like, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, and they were like staying in each other's houses and like, comparing notes of the shows. And I was just like, it was such a cool world to see. So I feel like I'm getting to live that now. And, we'll get to go to the show in New Orleans together. And it's really cool to be able to do it.
It's going to be so fun.
We're so excited for that.
I have to ask when, I may be getting ahead of myself, but when was your first Tori show?
So my first Tori show was here in New Orleans. It was on this strange little tour. It was 2001.
That's a
and
good
it was
one.
it was at the Orpheum Theater, and Rufus Wainwright opened the show. And so I became a huge Rufus fan after that. And I begged my mom and dad to take me and my twin sister because she was a huge fan. She's a huge fan too. But I was in 9th grade. And it was a school night. And I'm from Gulfport, Mississippi, which is like an hour away. But my parents are from New Orleans, and I begged them, and they were cool. And they got tickets, and they came. They sat way up in the balcony.
Aw.
I got pit tickets because I have my lifeguard money.
That's right, baby.
I have my lifeguard money.
Amazing.
I was gonna ask, do y'all remember? This was before social media, so this was 2001. But I bought my tickets on eBay, and that's where you would get the Tori tickets. And it was like feisty too, and there was a lot of listings, but there wasn't StubHub or Like
No.
they sold on
Chris and I
Ticketmaster
know all
initially.
about that. Yeah.
We do. And you
Yeah.
didn't know if they were counterfeit or not. They weren't
Right.
always. Sometimes they were.
But sometimes they were. Yeah.
Y'all, I used to get them at the grocery store. Did y'all ever get them at the Ticketmaster outlet at the grocery store at the HEB?
What about Blockbuster? People would like wait outside of the Blockbuster.
Crazy. What a time. People used to also like go to the box office of the actual theater and at 10 a.m. or whatever, just like stand in line and wait for somebody to give you right, or you'd call the box office. Like it was such a different time.
I actually missed the physical tickets. I had so many tickets that I collected over the years, but now it's all
I know.
digital. So
I know.
I lost all of my ticket stubs in a basement flood, which is super
Ooh.
sad. But I have
Oh.
one very special ticket stub from Red Rocks 2023, baby.
My God, don't even.
It's so
Don't even.
good. I know. I
Love
know.
that.
That venue is something else. God, I wish I could see Tori there. That would be incredible. It's
Well,
like,
if anybody changes their mind, me and Joey will be there.
We'll be
so
there,
come on
so-
through.
wait, is she playing there on this tour?
Yes,
Yeah, oh,
baby.
yeah.
Me and Joey are going.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at
oh
him. He's
my
like looking for
gosh.
flights already.
I'm like spinning. I'm like, oh
Don't.
God.
This is what happens. You
And
can't. You
Matt
have
is
to
shooting. Matt is shooting
Yeah.
daggers at us.
I'm
you
good
have
at
to.
this.
You have to block them out, or they'll convince you to do things that you might not want to do.
I already got Matt to add 2 shows in the past few weeks. So
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Austin because it's, you know, it's not too far of a drive. It's
Yeah.
like 7 hours, but
Yeah.
but yeah,
We'll be there
well,
as
that's
well.
really cool. Are you gonna
Well,
y'all both are gonna be in Austin? Oliveville are gonna be in Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah. We're
Yeah.
gonna do New Orleans, Austin.
I'm gonna treat
Dallas.
Austin like our hometown show since Matt
Yeah.
had lived here for a few years. Like this is Matt's home, whether he wants it to be or not. So, and I'm not going to New York this year, which is we all like to convene there too because we all live there. That could have been a hometown show, but the 3 of us aren't going to be there together. So it's going to be
Okay.
Austin this tour.
It's really hard for me
Unfortunate-
when I don't have you guys in New York, but
I know.
I'll be all right. I'll be
Unfortunately,
okay.
Kristen's son's birthday is on that day. We have to respect it.
Y'all, if it was on the 20th, like because it's the 24th and 25th, like I can't. There's no way for me.
But why doesn't he want to come to New York and see Tori on his birthday? I don't understand.
Yeah.
No,
I don't get it.
don't
How
think
old
I
is
should
how
do
old
it.
is he?
He'll be 11.
What 11-year-old boy is on to come see Tori in New York on his
I
birthday?
did.
don't
When I was
understand.
11, I did, but
I heard Tori for the first time at 11, so I hear you.
yeah, me too.
We would love to hear more about your first exposure
Yeah.
to Tori Amos.
Well, I was around 11. I was in 7th grade, and I have an older sister, Sarah, who is 2 years older than me. And I think the first song I heard was Cornflake Girl. And then I think the other song I heard was Crucify. And I remember so vividly one night I was like peeking into a room and her friend and her were hanging out, and they had the winter single of Tori on the White Horse. Is that correct? Was it the winter single? Yeah.
Correct.
And I thought it was the coolest thing. And they were like, yeah, like we're like listening to Tori and so I actually, even though I heard Cornflake Girl first, I actually fell in love with Little Earthquakes first. And I did go pretty much in order initially. So I listened to Little Earthquakes, and as a 11-year-old little gay boy, it just stimulated me in a way that I had just never heard anything like that. And I think I grew up, we listened to the radio a lot. And so that was really the only music I was exposed to. And so when I heard Little Earthquakes, it was so stimulating and it was so just exciting and invigorating. And I just gobbled it up. I gobbled it up. I was obsessed with it. And then I found Under the Pink, and I love how Tori calls that album an impressionistic painting, because I really like feel that it does have such an artistic quality to it. But I gobbled that up too, and then I found Boys for Pele next, and that's when everything really changed. It felt like a portal to me, and I didn't know how to explain it when I was like, 12 at that point, or 13, but it was a portal. It was, and I remember I was in the back of the minivan with my little, I remember the blue disc with the trees on it, put it in the Discman, had headphones on, and it was like I was stepping into another world. And it was, I know I keep saying the word stimulating, but that's what it was. It was like I needed something that was challenging for my brain at that time. And it scratched that itch, but it also felt like I was coming home to something. It felt like
Oh.
I had listened to it in another lifetime. So there was like a familiarity to it. Um, and I remember because in Blood Roses, she mentions New Orleans, and I would listen to it often when we would drive to New Orleans to see family. And I didn't even know that she had recorded some of it in New Orleans at this point, or that she shot the artwork in Bro Bridge. Like, I didn't even know that, but I felt a deep Southern connection to the album for sure. Um, there's a deep South, like kind of Southern Gothic vibe to it. And it's funny that I picked up on that when I was little. I was actually showing my mom Boys for Pele the other day, and I was like, "Did you know that like I was listening to this in the back of the minivan?" And she
She's like, hell no.
she was like, "No," you know. Um, but yeah.
It is
So
always like when you think back, like we were all so young, but you like feel it. You don't have the words yet necessarily, but you feel it, and that's so cool.
well, and what's interesting about Boys for Pele, and I think y'all have touched upon this before, or maybe with other albums, but when I listen to it now, I still get the chills and that excitement that I felt when I first listened to it. And I don't really have that with any other musician. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is about Tori, but it's like I can refeel it. And it's you can't put a price on that to be able to have that emotional connection to something. So yeah, so Boys for Pele turned my whole world upside down, and it became a part of my identity. And to this day, it is still a huge part of my identity, and it's wrapped up in so much, so much of my creative work, especially because I'm in New Orleans. So I also feel like there's kind of this cosmic connection with, like, I feel like me and Tori are kind of tapping into the
Mhm.
same, um, I don't know, like creative, what does she always say? She said it in the documentary. She did the little mini documentary for Boris for Pele.
Yeah.
Um, the currents
Yeah.
that are running through the church, like in Ireland, but like the current in New Orleans, there is a current here. There's a creative force here, and you can tap into it. And so I've been able to tap into it with growing food and ingredients, and then also exploring just, Cajun Creole recipes. So yeah, so Boys for Pele happened. And then I think I jumped to Venus and back.
Mm.
And I eventually, of course, got to Choir Girl and loved Choir Girl. But I think I did skip Choir Girl and went to Venus and back. And I have to say, that was such a profound moment for me, because it was the 2 disc and it had that live disc.
Mm.
And at that point, I had never heard. There were some videos of Tori performing live, but not a lot. And so that live disc, I was blown away, because she's singing all the songs that I was familiar with, but in a different way, and with a band. And it was like, and then it sounded like I could hear the crowd, and I was like, oh my God, there's a lot of people there. Like, I was just so young, I didn't really understand how it worked. And so then I found, and this is when the internet was like, still kind of new. So then I found the Dent, which was a huge deal. Y'all remember the Dent?
Oh
Amen.
yeah.
Mike Y. Thank you for your service.
But the Dent was like the hub, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It had like the most information. And so the Dent was posting set lists, and I was like, wait a minute, she's playing a different set list every night. And then I started to understand, like, that people were following her. And there was even like, and I could follow her and watch her play the same set list, but there's even more incentive because she's playing a completely
Right.
fucking different set list every night.
Right.
Right.
And she's throwing in covers that she's never played before. And you just don't know what you're going to get. And that was so thrilling to me.
It still is.
Um, it still is to this day. It still is. And it just goes to show you that she was born to perform. She was born to play live.
100%. Yeah.
And I can't even tell you, she ruined me because I've been to so many live shows.
I
I've been
know.
to so many live shows, and I'm like, this chicken shit gig, like, what is this? Like, they're not even putting their heart into it. Like, and I think I saw someone 2 times on a tour, and it was the exact set list to a T. And I was like,
Yeah.
girl, you don't even know like
Even the
what
sound
Tori's doing.
quality of other artists, like in their concerts, like I honestly don't think I've been to any other concert. I've been to a lot of concerts where the sound quality is even
Mm.
close to what Tori is like live. Like just the mixing, the mastering, like just the care. Like if you don't, so most concerts, if you don't know the song, you will not understand what's happening or what you're
Yeah.
hearing. It's just not happening. You know, they put a lot of care into that.
I mean, she's
Yeah.
incredibly fortunate to be married to like one of the great
Mark.
sound
Great sound engineers,
engineers.
yeah.
Truly, I can't like give Mark enough credit for his skill, his technical expertise. I mean, he's so good at what he does. Shout out.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Mark. And I think that just goes to show you, like, especially with how she just followed this creative momentum of just being like, we're going to go to Ireland. I need to find a church to record in. And then she finds this crew, and then she meets her future husband. It just feels like, and that's what's so inspiring too about her creative process is she listens to what her instincts tell her to do, and then it led her to that. And then, I mean, you can't tell me that that's like a magical synchronistic event that she met her husband on this album, and then he's become a part of her career. And it's just really cool to see how it all unfolded. And I don't know if maybe newer Tori fans maybe they don't know that she met Mark that way, but yeah, that's really cool. So after To Venus and Back, then I started doing online research, got into Choir Girl, and I had never really listened to electronic music, which now electronic music is like one of my favorite, genres of music. But so I was kind of taken aback with the transition from the first 3 albums, but I quickly fell in love with it. And then she announced Strange Little Girls is coming out, and that was the first album that I got to experience her releasing, with Strange Little Girls. And I remember when it came out, and I got it at the store and listened to it, and to this day I listen to Strange Little Girls all the time.
How many different ones did you buy? Did you buy all the girls, or which girl did you buy?
I think I bought the one with where she had the mascara on the bottom and like the black. And I didn't even know who Kevin Aquan was too. And I'm so mad because on that tour I bought a calendar, and it had every single picture that they took.
Yeah.
Or most of them. And that calendar was fucking, can I curse on here?
Yes.
I don't know if you can. Okay.
Please.
Yes,
That calendar was so beautiful. And I looked on eBay and I couldn't find it. I don't know where I put it, but all the pictures from that shoot were just incredible. And it's like, yeah, you have Kevin Aquan. It's just it's so cool. And I've watched all of his documentaries, and and Tori's in one of them, and it's really special to see like the connection that they had. And but anyways, I'm rambling. Okay, so
Nice.
Strange Little.
If anybody who's listening right now has a copy of that calendar, please get in touch. We know someone who's listening has that calendar.
For sure.
I will send you a signed copy of my new cookbook if you can send me that calendar. Absolutely.
Where are my collectors at, y'all?
Someone's got it.
Get in
Someone's got it.
contact.
Strange Little Girls came out, and then I saw that she was coming to New Orleans, and I freaked out. And I had my lifeguard money. I bought my pit. This was when it would say pit row CCC or row BBB, and I like had all my money. It was like maybe $250, $300, but I waited until the very last second. Yeah, it was, and I waited till the last second, and I got those damn tickets. And so my parents took us to the show, and I remember it was electric. Like just going there and then arriving to the Orpheum and seeing some of the fans out front, there was a buzz. And I had never experienced that, you know. Now I know it happens at Tori shows. It's just there's a buzz, you know. And me and my twin sister, we sat and we saw the show. And I tell you what, I had never seen a woman, or anyone for that matter, express themselves so fiercely, hold the energy of a room in such a powerful way, really take you on a journey. And she made me feel something that I had just never felt. And I didn't realize at the time that I was seeing, you know, one of the greatest musicians ever who was born to play live. I'm just so thankful that I found her at such a young age. But it's funny looking back because I had no idea how incredible it actually was. And so, but the other thing that happened when I got to the show was there were so many queer people. There were so many gay guys, lesbians, and women. And the minority was straight men. And growing up in Mississippi, I was always in a straight man's world. And so to be in this environment, I'm sure my parents were like, oh God, like, you know, but I was beside myself because I was like, oh my God, these are my people. And it felt like a sacred space, and it still does, you know? And I just felt included. And I hadn't really felt like included at that point in my life. I was so young, and I was like, I knew I was gay, and I knew I was artistic and creative, and I knew I was expressive, and I was teased, and I was even teased for listening to Tori, and but I didn't care. But it can dim your light a bit when people make fun of you for being feminine. And Tori taught me that it was not only okay to be feminine, but that it was fierce, and that you can be feminine and powerful, and you can express yourself in such a beautiful way. And she still is. She's a mother to me. And I'm really close with my mom. I adore my mom. But Tori taught me stuff that my mom could never teach me about sexuality, about just, you know, expressing yourself in a way that is sometimes scary, and sometimes, you know, you address things that are hard to talk about, and stimulating, and also her stance on Christianity and religion, because I grew up in a Catholic house, you know, and I always rejected it from an early age because it just wasn't adding up for me. It was just like, especially when they told me like, oh, masturbation's a sin. I was like, why? Why would that? Why?
Yeah, say, like, why? Say more. Why?
Right.
You know? And so I think Tori was questioning a lot about Christianity to me. And and I didn't go into detail with my parents about all that, but yeah, they didn't know what I was questioning while I was listening to her, and how much she was really kind of expanding my mind. So I left the show in New Orleans just buzzing. I was seduced, and then I went to boarding school in Georgia, and
Wow.
Scarlett's Walk was coming out, and it was a huge deal. And do y'all remember the chat room that she had?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, I was beside myself because, you know, I think that was her first record with Sony Epic, right? After she left Atlantic. And I could tell they were doing a big push to do digital, like online stuff. But I remember I was in the chat rooms, and I remember they had the I think we've talked about this outside of this, but they released like the 30-second tracks. Or were they 15 seconds? Maybe
They were short, whatever they were.
But I listened to them over and over and over again.
Yeah, of course.
And Scarlett's Walk was such a beautiful album, and it was different, you know, it was different than her other stuff. And but I was so here for it. Or there for it. And I still am, and I still listen to Scarlett's Walk too. But that tour was incredible. And I know y'all have talked about it before, but that tour, I feel like, just went on and on and on. I mean, I saw her.
It did.
So
it was like 2
we
years.
drove.
She toured for like a year and a half or something. Yeah.
So me and my friend drove to Kansas City, Missouri. We mapped it out because I was in 10th grade boarding school. That I wasn't, if I was like, hey, see, Tori Amos is playing in Atlanta, can I go? They'd be like, no. So I made up this lie and said I was going to stay with my friends on the weekend. And my head of house, who I was close with, she was like my dorm mom. She was like, yeah, you can go stay with her. So Friday, I get out of class. We get in the car. We drive 13, 14 hours to Kansas City, Missouri, because it was the only show that was on a Saturday that was
Weekend.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Drove to Kansas City, Missouri. And this was the first time that I went to a meet and greet. Because from the dent, I heard about the meet and greets. And me and my friend, once I got to boarding school, I, of course, had a little clique of girls that I befriended. And that's why I never got made fun of too much, because I always had a posse of women with me that were like, don't mess with him. But they all became obsessed with Tori with me. And so me and my friend Alex, we drove to Kansas City. We got to the venue at 6 a.m.
This is like the old days for real.
And there was a line already. Of gay guys and women, the girls, the gays, and the days. That was really fascinating to just be in line with those people all day and to hear all the stories, because these people were legit. Like, there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I quit my job and I've like, this is my 20th show on the tour."
Hell yeah,
and it's
baby!
Like, well, I want to do that, but I was in 10th grade.
Wait, was that me?
It was probably Maddie. Joey and I dropped out of college.
Yeah, basically. We literally were skipping school, as Goldust
We love
said.
that song.
Oh, okay.
Did you get to meet Tori at this meet and greet that you went to?
Yeah.
I did.
did.
Okay.
You did.
And I have a picture, and that's
Oh, we want to see that picture.
Yeah, we got to share it.
You got to send it to us.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I have a picture of us meeting, and Joel, the bodyguard's in it.
Of course, always.
Yeah.
And she was wearing a red corduroy jacket. I'll send you the picture. When I ended up, I don't want to jump ahead, but yeah, so I got to meet her, and then that night, she just was electric that tour. I mean, her voice was so strong, and it was just incredible. And then I was able to see her in Atlanta 2 times. I think on the same tour. It must have been.
She probably came back. Yeah.
So in Atlanta was easier for me because I went to boarding school in Rome, Georgia. So it was an hour north. And when the following year, I was a junior and I had a car. So I had a little bit more freedom. So then I saw her then. And then as I got older, I still remained like a huge Tori fan, but I started to explore, other musicians and started becoming interested in other things. And I think for most of my teenage years, Tori was kind of it. She was like the main gig for me. And so I do think it was time for me when I got to my senior year, I started to kind of, explore other music. And then I went to college. But I always listened to Tori and talked about Tori. Like, all my friends were like, yeah, he talks about Tori all the time, just because she's so fun to talk about. And so then I moved to New York. And at that point, I was working a whole bunch of little side gigs. But I always had done photography. That was always my passion, was photography, and cooking was always my passion. But outside of the side gigs, I was making art for some galleries, and I did a couple of shows, and it really wasn't fulfilling. But I did move to New York with that idea of like, I'm going to be a contemporary artist.
Oh.
And yeah. And so after a few years in New York, I realized that the gallery world really wasn't for me.
Not
and
cool.
And Instagram at the time was starting to become more popular. And I had a friend who was like, "You're such a great cook. You're a photographer." Because I graduated from college, I majored in studio art with a concentration in photography. And she was like, "You should start a food Instagram. Like, you could just talk about the recipes you make." Because at that point, I went vegan when I was 20. And so at that point, I'd been vegan for a minute, and I had veganized, or I call it a vegan translation of the dishes that I grew up eating. And at the time, there wasn't many people doing that. And so on Instagram. Now remember, y'all, this was a time on Instagram you can only post one picture, a
Right.
square, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so the goal was to, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not even recognizable at this point. But it was an amazing time because it wasn't saturated. And
Yeah, that's true.
if you were a good photographer and you had a point of view that was unique, you really stood out. So I started posting pictures of recipes, and I started getting into food styling, and I started going to the Union Square Farmers Market and finding really cool produce. And y'all, it just blew up. It was like the right timing. Like,
That's so
and
cool.
but it was sustainable because I could post
Mhm.
one picture 3 times a week, and it would, you know, bring me new followers, and I built a community that way. And so at this point, I feel like I'm just trying to maintain my audience. But at that time, it was like there was a lot of momentum. And so I was like,
Mhm.
well, I'm just going to stick to this. So I started doing pop-up events. I started collaborating with people. I started meeting other people in the food world, and I worked with someone on a cookbook. Like I just was on set helping to make the recipes, and then they were shooting them. Everything was going really well. I was starting to get ready to leave New York. Like that city like gave me my career. Like it's such an incredible place, but I started to crave more space. I wanted to grow food, and I wanted to live somewhere that was more affordable. So I started to think, well, maybe I'll just move back to Mississippi. Like that's probably one of the most affordable places to live.
That's right.
And you know, when I created the concept of Mississippi vegan, I liked the name of it because it was catchy, but it also represented my past and then my future of being
Yeah.
vegan. And so it was kind of a beautiful moment for me to be like, wow, I started this and it had so much momentum. It's actually bringing me back down to the South. And right before I moved, a literary agent reached out and was like, hey, and I think I had like, at that point, I had like 50,000 Instagram followers. And I think that's kind of the magic number for literary agents. If you have that built-in audience,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they kind of see it as a, you know, they have a built-in audience. So uh she was like, do you want to write a cookbook? I was like, yeah, I would love to.
That's
So
insane.
we put together a proposal. I was like, I remember I said, well, let me move back to Mississippi. I'm moving back in a few months and then I'll work on it. She was like, can you do it by next week? And I was like, okay. So this was the fall of 2016. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So I put it together. We did like 2 rounds of edits, and then she sent it out to her list of people. And you know, literary agent, that they're the key to the publishing world. And I remember the following week, I was like, oh, I'm going to go visit a friend to my agent. And she was like, we have 9 meetings set up with different imprints. Like you can't go anywhere. And
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
so y'all, the next week I was in Manhattan going up into skyscrapers, having meetings with these publishers. I remember calling my mom being like, Mom, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Like it was wild. And it went to a bidding war.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That's the
It
dream.
went it, and I didn't really realize it at the time. I just didn't know how any of it worked, you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, it went to a bidding war. And then Avery, who is my imprint, I ended up going with Avery because they really wanted me, and because they really wanted me and they really fought for me, it made me want to be with them. And they also have done a lot of vegan cookbooks and vegetable focused cookbooks. So it felt like a good fit. And I also enjoy meeting them in person, you know. Um, but there was definitely some publishers that I didn't really vibe with, and then others I vibe with more. And so Avery was a good fit. So I got the deal. And then the next week I moved back to Mississippi, to Jackson, the capital.
Oh my gosh.
And so that was end of 2016. So then 2017, I wrote the cookbook, Mississippi Vegan. And it was really just kind of, I feel like I had been writing that book my whole life. And so it was a shorter window of time than my newer cookbook, which was good for me. I think I needed a shorter deadline, but I finished it in 2017, and then it came out in the fall of 2018. And so after I finished writing that book, I decided it was time to move somewhere else, and I ended up moving to New Orleans. And so that felt like an even more of a full circle moment, just because New Orleans has always been such an inspiration for me. Like, and growing up on the Gulf Coast, like we have po' boy restaurants, and I grew up eating gumbo, and I grew up eating red beans and rice. So that's always been kind of like a, a big source of inspiration for me. So it was cool to move here. And now that I've been here, I'm just in love with it. It's just, I just feel so at home here, and it was the perfect place to write my cookbook.
So this seems like a lot happened very quickly for you, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of whiplash.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very interested in hearing more about that, because I think that's a really unique position to be in.
I've learned this from the internet, but the internet is just a vortex, and it can go in a really good direction and a really bad direction.
Right.
I've experienced both, but I remember when I first started posting on Instagram, and my friend said, "Here, put 30 hashtags on an image." This is when hashtags was a thing. But I remember I posted one image. I didn't have any followers at that point, but I put hashtags, and then my activity page blew up. And I
That's
was like,
insane.
I could see it like, and then I was looking, and it was people all over the world. And I said, "Oh my God, this is such an amazing," and you have to understand, I was making art, showing it at a gallery that, like rich white people are able to see in a clean white room. And now I'm able to show work, and it's exposed to the whole world. And, people were able to consume it at all minutes of the days, it's just wild. So yeah, you're right. It was tremendous, like the whole journey of it, and it happened fast. It really did.
Okay, and the next part of the story is also whiplash.
Yes. So the Mississippi Vegan came out. It was doing its thing. It had it had its own momentum, and I knew it was super niche, and so but it was doing well, and it was getting praise from people. Jamie Oliver chose it to be in his cookbook club. He has like a cookbook club every month. And it got some good press, and I did kind of a tour. It was more spread out. Like I kind of just would go to cities whenever I felt like it, and would just do a signing. But then the pandemic happened, and then, so I think this was May 2020, but I was visiting my parents in Gulfport, and I open up Instagram, and I get a DM from randomly this guy that I made food for his wedding. I did like a small catered wedding, but they were fans of Mississippi Vegan, and they were like, "We'd love for you to make food for our wedding." So I did. So, but he posted on his story like, "Oh my God, Tori Amos just did an interview with NPR, and all she talked about was Mississippi Vegan."
Oh my
And
God.
and I was like,
What?
"Wait." So, and I hadn't talked to him, since the wedding, and I was like, so I clicked the link, and sure enough, NPR was doing, they call it My Daily Breather, but they were interviewing different musicians or artists just to see how they were getting through the pandemic. And sure enough, Tori Amos talks about how she always has Mississippi Vegan in the kitchen. She loves my potato salad. She cooks from it all the time. And then she was like, he also has recipes on his website. She linked to my website. And I mean, y'all, I collapsed on the floor. I remember I collapsed on the carpet.
God.
And it was cool to be in Gulfport, because that's where I first started listening to her. I felt like a 12-year-old boy, like the one that was listening to, Boys for Pele in the back of the van. But I was like,
Yeah.
so it was wild. To this day, it was the most magical synchronistic event that's ever happened to me. And I've had a lot of
goosebumps
really cool
just hearing
things
you
happen.
talk about it.
I love that, and
Yeah.
I actually I really relate to that. I feel like I had a moment like that as well, also with Tori, and it feels very similar. And I always think, like, I wish that the me that was working with Tori when I was working with Tori could go back and time travel to like 18-year-old me listening to Little Earthquakes and just be like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. But I get what you're saying very much. Like, you think about your younger self listening to these records that mean so much to you, and then this person who is sort of like at the very top of the pyramid for you validates that work. It's there's like nothing can be said about that. There really truly are no words.
Yeah, no, she's my hero. And I remember my dad, who doesn't really is not very expressive. I remember I was like, Tori loves my cookbook, and he was like, Tori Amos, and he couldn't believe it. And I remember seeing that reaction from him, because he came to that show in New Orleans and he knows how much I love her. But
Yeah.
even he was like, whoa, this is a big deal.
Like, that made you feel like it was a big, like, even seeing him,
Even
you were like,
bigger
oh
deal.
shit,
Yeah,
this is really a
'cause-
big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I got a reaction out of my dad. So
Yeah.
that makes it sound like he's such a lovely, sweet guy.
I know what
but
you
he's
mean,
just,
though. But
he's
like
hard to
a
impress, I think.
genuine, yeah, like a genuine reaction. Like,
Well, when somebody knows what something means to you,
Yes.
that's also a really specific,
yes.
emotional. It's like somebody reflecting something back at you and telling you that they see you. And for it to be your own father, especially as a gay man, when
Mhm.
your father is proud of you for something, there's a very specific, like,
Yeah, that
almost
very specific.
very hard to articulate feeling, because so much shit is wrapped in masculinity and, being the son of a father, and, the fear that being queer is a disappointment to him in some way. I mean, it's just very, very loaded. So I can only imagine that, that was a really, really validating and important moment.
Yeah, it really was. So I was kind of spinning. I was kind of in shock, and I kept saying to myself, she has to know that I'm a fan. I kept trying to convince myself, like, she has to know that I met her in Kansas City when I was 16, and that, you know, and I remember that moment
She
when I
does have a
met her
good
in Kansas
memory.
City.
Yes.
I remember when I got to hug her at that meet and greet, and I remember I went, Tori, and she whispered in my
Oh.
ear, she went, yes. And it was so incredible. But yeah, it's like, I kept trying to, I was like, she has
Oh.
to know. So I go to Instagram stories and tell my audience what happened, because they know that I'm a huge Tori fan. I had a follower send me like a little Christmas ornament of like a picture of me and Tori that they collaged together.
Wow.
Because I
That's
talked
cute.
about Tori a lot. I'm telling you, my core audience, they know. So they were like, everyone was freaking out. Then I posted about it in feed, and then the person who interviewed Tori was somehow saw it and was like, "Oh, this is so great. I'm gonna let Tori know. I'm gonna email her and let her know." Then the next day, or even maybe that day, Tori Amos started following me back on
Oh my
Instagram.
God.
And I dropped my
Wow.
phone. I don't even know.
Tim,
It was,
she follows like 30 people in the
I
world.
know.
Not
she
even,
follows
like
like
10 or
nobody.
15.
Amazing.
yeah, I was gagged. I was gagged. And, and, and so that happened. So fast forward to Ocean to Ocean, which remind me what year that came out.
2021, but she toured in 2022 and 23 for it.
Okay, so 2020, the article came out. We kind of we touched base on Instagram, but she's not running her Instagram. She has a team doing it. I'm sure I don't even know if she actually looks at it or not, but their team is doing a great job. Just side note, they're doing a great job running her account. But I bought tickets to Ocean because she came to New Orleans, and I remember I DM'd her, or DM'd the team, and I was like, "Hey, I'm coming to the show. I'd love to bring a signed copy of the book." That day, John Witherspoon responds. I was like, "I'm coming to
Sure.
the show. I'd love to bring the
I
signed
want to
copy of
give
the
you
book."
this book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then John was like, "Hey, Tim, Tori would love to see you. We're going to leave you 2 backstage passes at the box office. Can't wait to see you." Like, very short. And I just was like,
That's amazing.
and you have to understand, she's such a hero to me. interacting with her is actually really nerve-wracking. It's not something that, like, when I get around her, I get really, just I don't know. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to, and,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to meet your heroes, but I wanted to meet her, I
There's an
wanted to meet her
exception when it
again.
comes to Tori. She's as good as you would hope.
But there wasn't many people. There was a
Yeah.
very small group that had that pass. And I felt so honored that I was able to, but it was a weird time. It was like coming out of the pandemic. Like, I'm sure Tori's just like, she can't do those meet and greets anymore,
Yeah. Those are
Um,
a thing of the past. Yeah.
so I meet John. He's lovely. And I had made food for her. I made her a loaf of sourdough bread. I made her potato salad because that's her favorite. And I brought her a pack of basil seeds, this heirloom lime basil that I love, and I brought the signed copy of the book. Sure enough, the venue took away the food, and they were like, "We'll give it
I
to
was
the
gonna
crew."
say.
Did they take away the seeds too?
They took away everything,
Uh,
and I should have. I didn't know, but I should have emailed John and been like, "Hey, I'm bringing something."
But we don't know. We don't know anything.
We didn't know, and I didn't want to bug him. I was like kind of scared that something. I was just like,
Yeah.
Like,
even going up to the box office, I'm like, "Hey, my name's Timmy. Like, I think I have 2 tickets or 2." It wasn't even tickets. It's like 2 backstage passes waiting for me. And like the lady's looking at me, and I'm like, and then sure enough, she's like, "Here you go." And I'm like,
you're like, I know, I can't believe it either.
but yeah. So luckily, I was able to get the book back, but they wouldn't give me the food back. So let me go in order, stay in order. So I'm backstage, and then they're like, "Okay, it's time for you to go into the room." So I walk in, y'all, and Tori, and I was prepared to do like full monologue, She cuts me off. She runs up to me, grabs my hand. She's like, "Oh my God, I love your cookbook. Your potato salad is so good. I've made so many friends because of your potato salad." And I was like, just stunned, because I'm like, how does she even, like, it's just so crazy that she knows like who I am and what I do. It was just wild. And I wasn't prepared for her to like be so, I don't know, just friendly and down to earth. And
Yeah.
I just was caught off guard. It was just wild. I told her, how much she meant to me. And I remember I said, "I've met you before." And I think it was a weird thing to say, because she looked at me like, and I was like, "But I
No,
was
that's her
16." And it
thinking
was,
face. That's her thinking
Yeah.
face.
well, and I didn't want her to be like, "No, you shouldn't remember this. Like, this was a meet and greet at, like, in 2000, like in 2003." Like,
But I just want to
but
say, the thing about Tori that's so amazing is that even if she doesn't remember it, she knows how much it meant to you, and she's able
She
to tap
prefers
into
that.
and connect with that. And she really respects and acknowledges that. So she like is very focused, even though, she wouldn't remember 20 years earlier. She knows what it means to you. And so she's able to like connect in that moment.
and I would just add to
Yeah.
that explaining things to Tori in terms of a meet and greet really clicks with her as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
So
okay.
if like if you're saying,
She
well, I was
understands
in
the
a,
context and
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. It was, yeah, it was funny, just because I don't know, I was trying to be eloquent in how I was delivering it to her, but I'm sure everything just came out scrambled. And my friend
Yeah.
Katie, who's a Tory fan, was just kind of watching everything happen. And but I remember I did get to tell her. I was like, "Tori, this book wouldn't exist without you."
Was she surprised
It
to hear
wouldn't,
that?
because
Like, did she know?
How did she react to that? Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I'm trying to remember.
you probably blacked out.
She's
Right.
really good at she's really good at listening, and
Yeah.
she really does look at you. So it was like, but I remember I was like, "Tori, like, I don't think this book would exist without you. You taught me how to express myself. You showed me how to tap into uh, a creative momentum of a project. You like literally showed me how to do it." Um, and I just, I have to thank you for that. And then I gave her the pack of heirloom basil seeds, and I remember she was like, "How should I grow these?" And I was like, in that moment, like, I can't believe I'm about to explain to Tori how to plant basil seeds. Like, what is this life that I'm living? And then she said, I know who can help me with this. And apparently the guy who does her hair, I think, is into plants. And so she was like, I maybe just, but she did have someone who could help her. Cause I could imagine her in Florida, growing these like heirloom basil
Yeah.
seeds and
Sure.
harvesting
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Of course.
And you know what
Datura.
she did say? And I don't remember it verbatim, but she did pull me aside and she was like, well, all of this is because of Tosh. And I was like, oh, and I think, she got into veganism because of her daughter.
Yeah.
And then I think she told me that Mark really got into eating plant-based. And so I could see her, in her kitchen in Cornwall, and she's from, North Carolina, Southern girl. And she's like, okay, these people in my family want to eat vegan. And then she sees Mississippi Vegan on, Amazon. Cause I remember being like, Tori, did you not know? And she said, I bought the book. She said, I just bought it because I wanted to make, Southern vegan recipes. And so, but it makes sense that she found it. It just goes to show you though, like how powerful it is to have a physical product in the world. And with Amazon and the internet, everything just moves so fast. So,
Think to
but
kind of
she
have
said,
like
Tosh, yeah.
and like your niche though, right? Like because Tori, we know girl likes her food. She likes food. She likes southern food. So if you are making something plant-based in that food, which is typically not plant-based, like
Mm,
like she's going to be able to see through any like kind of crappy recipe, one that's not well thought out. Like I told you that I made
mm,
your gumbo. And gumbo, like I grew up eating it for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. I love
mhm,
gumbo. But I've never had a good vegan gumbo before until
mm,
now. But that's because you are also Southern. Like you get it, it's in you.
mhm. Well, and I've learned to recreate that rich umami flavor with things, and I think that's why
Yes.
she likes the potato salad because I really try to, especially because it is vegan, I try to turn the volume up with all the flavors and make sure that it's not lacking. And so,
Yes.
um, but um, but yeah, and I did know that she liked to cook because she talks about it in her interviews and she talks about food and in like the playlist that I put together, like there's she talks about food quite a bit and her songs and 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 yeah so that happened. I met her at the show. She said keep in touch, and I was like okay.
That's
I
awesome.
just I left beaming. I left beaming, and then I think she posted a carousel post, and included a picture of me, like, and her holding the book, and I just was like
It just kept getting better,
Wow.
huh?
Amazing.
it kept getting better. It kept getting better.
Yeah.
I want to just circle back for a quick second to something you said about when you were meeting her, and that is that the book wouldn't have been possible without her sort of like modeling creative momentum. I
Mm.
think that's
Mm,
such a great way to think about how just to be inspired in general, but definitely like by Tori herself. I think what she does is so inspiring and just sort of like your jaw's on the floor with every project she does.
Mhm.
And it's interesting for people who write or who tell stories or who cook or who do whatever, how they take away inspiration from watching how Tori does it. And that's really how I've always sort of experienced Tori too. I've been fascinated by her work ethic and how she's able to be
mhm,
creative within that cycle of really producing work too.
Mhm.
But I love the way
mhm.
you put that. The creative, following her or being inspired by her creative momentum, I think is a really interesting thing to think about for all of us.
I think this
Well,
also explains why sorry, Timmy. This also explains, I think, a little bit why if you're fortunate enough to get Tori, the reason that you can keep revisiting and hearing new things in her music all the time, um, is because you take different things from it and learn from it. Like it teaches you something new at a time when you
Mm.
need it to all the time. And that's one of the gifts of Tori, I think. And so it's not only like the music is a fixed thing, it's on record, it exists, but we change, so then it changes, right, in response to us. And I think that's really interesting because that idea of transformation and reclamation seems to be really linked to your food and how you cook, right? You're sort of reinventing, flavor profiles and reminding people of things that are not literally there in the food, right? And finding a new way to approach it. So in some ways, it sounds like, she taught you the act of sort of seeing again, tasting again, reinterpreting, like, right, like interpreting again, like fresh understanding of what's in front of you, right? Like the ingredient will always be that ingredient. It'll also be that thing that grows in your garden, but you continue to do different things with that same ingredient, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You can totally, transform it and tell stories with the ingredients and she does the same thing with her music and all of
Yeah,
her songs and then she does it with her live performances, and that's I wanted to touch about that too, about how she'll completely rework a song into something completely new, even though it comes from that same core
totally.
song. And that's I'll go into that with the playlist, but yeah, it's back to the creative momentum. I knew that she went to New Mexico to do Under the Pink, and
Mhm.
it was almost like she was like doing a residency there. And then, but when I watched that Boys for Pele little mini documentary, that really is what, because obviously we know that she is incredible at expressing herself and she has an artistry with her music, but being the producer of Boys for Pele and then like being inspired by Pele, which I love Hawaii too. And it's just the fact that she was there and was inspired by that and used that inspiration and used that spark to go to Ireland to a church and to
Right.
look at so many different churches and then to look at all these different harpsichord and find it. She had to narrow down all these components to bring it all together, and she had to just listen to herself. And she also had Atlantic Records being like, we don't think you should produce it, and like questioning it. And it's so wild to me that they like
Well,
weren't excited about it.
I mean, she also had, probably 80% of the media at the time absolutely trashing her in the
That's
record.
true.
Yes.
So,
She
Like
was
taking the
not
opportunity to just shit on it.
she was not
yeah,
treated well by critics. She was very rarely well reviewed. I mean, yeah, she really endured a lot of shit
it's
for a
pretty
long time.
marvelous. It's pretty marvelous that, I think a majority of us Tory fans find such powerful inspiration from Boys for Pele,
Mhm.
given the state of it in the world at the time. When it was put out,
Mm,
the sort of the obstacles that record had to overcome to reach everybody's ears and provide like an astonishing amount of inspiration to many, many
mm.
people. I think that's really like blows my mind.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I put in one of the last videos on the playlist I put together. It's a YouTube playlist. Um, I made sure to put in a radio interview she did, because
Mm.
she did that radio tour in January, after like right when the album was coming out. And honey, she hit the ground running. She did so many, and this was a time when internet was
Mhm,
like new.
mhm.
And to get your work out there, she would go to these morning radio shows, and she did so many. They're all on YouTube now. And that's what's so thrilling about being a Tory fan in 2026, is now I have access to all this stuff. So it's like a scavenger hunt for me to find all this stuff. But I put this specific radio interview because she sings Blood Roses with the piano, and I had never heard it on the piano, and because she wasn't traveling with her harpsichord, this was
Right,
like
right.
before she went on the Dewdrop In tour. So um but she did so many radio shows, and it just goes to show you that she knew. She's like, no one's gonna do this for me. I have to show this record to people. I have to like put this work out there.
Yeah.
And then she followed that radio tour with the 200 show tour, and she was doing two sets in one night. I mean,
Can't
To go
can't
back in
even.
time machine and see early and late shows. God.
Could you imagine being a fan
No.
and being like, I'm going to see her her next 6 shows, and she's doing 2 shows each night, and with
Yeah.
different set lists.
Imagine being
lists.
Tori. I'm exhausted teaching 2 classes in a row. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, imagine that.
I'm barely hanging on with me and my cat Chi Chi. Like, that's it. Like, I'm cooking recipes and she's touring the world. I'm like
Yeah.
nervous to come on a podcast, and she's like, but she was born to perform. She was born to play live, and you can feel it. And when you see her perform now, even on this new tour, she has this smile on her face, like she's doing exactly what she should be doing. And it's so beautiful to see. And and it's weird for me to say this, but I'm so proud of her because she's still pushing and she's still doing the work that she wants to do. And I can feel that Tori that I first saw at the Orpheum Theater in New Orleans. I can see it come out of her even today. And it's so magical. It's so magical. And I'm just so proud of her. And it's just endless inspiration of like, wow, you can continue to create really great work for your whole career, and you can have fun doing it, and it can be meaningful, and you can connect with your community and your audience in a really big way. And so
Yeah.
she's
And you
just a
can
huge inspiration in that way.
and like being yourself and going through eras and phases and trying on different elements.
I was going to say that exact same thing. It's all just being singular, being unique, and having a point of view, right? And I think that's an important lesson that we all take away, no matter what our field of work is. And I'm always thinking lately about, I don't remember what interview it was in, but it was during when she did the Tori and the Muses press blitz, when she said, that not everybody is always going to be called or inspired to be an artist or a musician or a writer. Sometimes we're called to take care of plants. Sometimes we're called to feed people. Sometimes we're called to be, doctors. I have really thought a lot about that, and I love that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Should we jump into the playlist?
Let's do it.
We'd love to react to a playlist.
Okay. Well, I did this a little unconventional because I was like, initially we were going to do like a food playlist, and I was like going through the albums, and I was like, no, I can do better than this. So I put together a video playlist predominantly of live performances and I've told Kristen this, but I really want y'all to do an episode on the hidden jewels, like the live performances that are just like, give you chills. And y'all did it with Juarez when that show from London.
Juarez, the one that Joey brought up.
Yeah.
You
messaged me to say that it changed your life.
It did, and this is what's so exciting about Tori, and this is the fan that I've become. As much as I listen to her albums, the fan that I am today is I'm always on the hunt for her live performances, and she has so many eras to explore, but I'm still in the world of like the tour. And then because I saw her on the Strange Little Tour, I love her performances from 2001. We'll get into it with the playlist, but there was something about the sound of that Strange Little Tour. It's kind of echoey. I don't know what do you call it?
A lot
Reverb?
a lot of good acoustics on that. I don't know if it was like the type of like tapes that people were recording with whatever was happening in the auditoriums, but I agree that like boots from that 2001 tour are really good. Those 3 New York City nights, I mean, stellar.
Well, and y'all have mentioned it, and I was at that March 6th show. That's my birthday, and I was at that Radio City Music Hall show. But I know y'all have mentioned a lot about the production quality of Strange Little Girls. It transferred to the tour. I'm starting it off with the performance she did on Jay Leno in 1995 with Butterfly. And
we love Butterfly here.
Well, it's such an important song. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. She did that for Higher Learning, but did she write it in 95, like before Pele? So she's in between Under the Pink and Pele. So it makes sense that it's like, because in order, my favorite album of hers, Boys with Pele, and then Under the Pink. So it would make sense that and
That's
then
where it
Never
lives.
Seen Blue is like, yeah. So because she did Never Seen Blue after Pele, right?
We didn't hear
She
that
did
till
a
98, right?
she did a version of it on a radio show, like a snippet of it, and then it was on the Jackie Strength single. But those singles were both supposed to be sessions from Boys for Pele. I don't know if there's some fudging of that, like if they actually are recording
Mm.
then, or if she finished. But and same with Butterfly, my gut says that it was something she'd started for Under the Pink and didn't finish, and then when the opportunity for the film soundtrack came, I think she probably reimagined it for it because it feels like a bridge between the two records, right?
It does, and
Yeah.
I love that scavenger hunt of like
Mm.
of saying that like the bridge between the albums, and so and then in that I remember watching that. I've watched that video, I mean, 100 times, but I was watching it while writing my new book, which is called Garden Variety. And
Mm.
then at the end, she like looks at the camera and she says, "Pretty, pretty garden." And I felt like she was like looking at me, like saying
I
it.
love
And
that.
I've become obsessed with butterflies, and I know she likes butterflies too. And so so that performance is just like, it's one of my, I'm just so thankful that it exists, you know?
Let's also talk about the fact that that was an era where a female solo artist could go on a late night talk show and do a kind of obscure song like Butterfly. I mean,
Yeah.
like that it wasn't a radio hit, it was on a soundtrack. I think that really speaks to her power during that time,
Mhm.
B, her
Totally.
sort of willingness to go there, right? Whenever, wherever. And also just the money that was put behind that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the money behind the
That's a
promotion of
great
higher
soundtrack.
learning. Yeah,
Jesus.
it really, we've said this before on the pod, like they don't make soundtracks anymore like they used to make them in the
Right.
90s. And that
Not
was
like the 90s, yeah.
yeah, and I mean, it was such a big part of Tori's DNA to the point that she has this iconic live solo performance of a real true rarity. Like
Yeah.
it blows blows my mind. I just spit
Yeah.
everywhere because I'm so excited.
Okay, so moving right along, Toodles, Mr. Jim. I put this one because it to me it really has so much food involved in it, with like picking and garden too, like picking cherries. At the end of the song, it feels like she's eating something. Like she's
Yeah.
like, and I picked it and I punched his daughter in the nose, and she's like, "Mr. Jim, what's good?" It sounds. I always thought she was like eating like a scoop of ice cream or something that made her salivate.
Yeah. So she's snacking on something at the end of that, for sure.
But I heard that song later, and they cut that part out, and I was so pissed because I love that part, and I don't know why they trimmed
Probably
it, but
because she was drunk.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what I
I love
think.
it. Well, yeah, picking cherries, punching the daughter in the nose, eating at the end. And then the next one was Daisy Dead Petals, and I know these two are like kind of B-sides from Boys for Pale. Or is Daisy Dead Petals Under the Pink?
Under the Pink. Yeah.
Under the Pink.
Okay. But Daisy Dead Petals is another one that just like screams food to me, because she says peppermint tray. She also says dirty dishes. So I'm like thinking of the kitchen, and then fry some eggs, and then hamburger made, which is like,
yeah.
but it's funny how she says these words, and sometimes they don't make sense. But like to me, it's like, you think of food, and it's like a visceral reaction for me. But yeah, so Daisy Dead Petals, and I found a live version that she did in '96, because there's not many. It's hard to find a live version of that song.
Yes.
And the performance is really cool. It's kind of faster than the studio one, and so
Yes.
it was really important for me to put together a playlist for the diehard Tori fans that they already know the album. So I wanted to put something special that I would actually want to like listen to and watch.
I love it. And I agree. Those early live Daisy Dead Petals, like late 90s, like those are the best live versions of Daisy Dead Petals.
They're
I do
kind of
like that.
stompy, you know?
Yeah, I feel
yeah.
it picks up a little like speed. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I can like feel, because I listened to it so many times putting this together, and it's like, yeah.
Like a Clydesdale, as Nat would say.
Yeah.
And then I did another song from from her 94 tour, and I did Cloud on My Tongue just because when
Mhm.
she says someone knocking on my kitchen door, it's I always go back to like the kitchen because that's kind of the heart of what I do. Like, even though I garden so much, but like I bring those ingredients into the kitchen and I'm cooking. And so there's such a strong connection to just the power that's in the kitchen. Um, but that performance is so beautiful. And then she goes into a Joni Mitchell cover, Both Sides Now, in that
Oh, yeah, I
performance.
love
Wow.
yes.
And
Uh-huh.
so, and you know, Blue is one of those albums that, because no one's really been able to, I call it like a deepness with Tori. Like my love for the deepness the love that I have for her is so deep. And I can't really get there with other artists. Joni Mitchell Blue is definitely up there where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like such an emotional masterpiece. And it's so cool to see that Tori, you know, loves her and was inspired by her. So
I love that line, someone's knocking on my kitchen door. So really now when I think about that, it's going to be you that I picture knocking on Tori's kitchen door.
Aw.
Cuz it kind of is, right?
well, and it's funny too, you know, and you know what else? When I
It's
think of
funny.
kitchen, I remember when she said, you know, why can't Tori read flopped? She was called, you know, a bimbo, whatever. And she like had to pick herself off the kitchen floor. I remember she said that. It's like, that's where she was at before she like started little earthquakes. And the kitchen really is a place of everything. It's like the good, the bad, you know, the ugly. And then everyone can relate to that kitchen door setup where it's like, because I don't actually have a kitchen door in this house, but we all can relate to it, you know, that kitchen door.
Was gonna tell you that line has always made me think. I lived for many years with my grandparents, who I adored before they passed away, and they had, I lived in Southeast Texas, so Gulf Coast, just like you, tiny, tiny little town. And my grandparents had, just like a very standard house where the kitchen is in the back and then it goes into like the garage and then the back. So that you have that kitchen door, and houses aren't really
Mhm.
structured exactly like that anymore. That's kind of like an old thing where the kitchen's like kind of in the back. And I always have like a very visceral image of that house when she says that. It's such a southern house in my mind. I love
Mhm.
that line and it just like brings me right there. It's so cool.
It is Southern in a way, isn't it? Like, this
Yes.
like the back kitchen door, like, "Oh, we're going through the kitchen door." Like, there's
Yes.
something about it. There's always been a Southern an undercurrent of Southern with Tori, and it makes sense. I mean, she's from North Carolina where the
Well,
biscuits are soft and sweet.
maybe all houses
So,
are made like that. I don't know. I only know about southern houses because I'm from Texas. I haven't said that in a
yeah.
few
You
episodes.
mentioned it, yeah, a second ago too. Keep
Okay.
going. Keep going to me.
Okay, so next up, this one, I I tried to keep it garden and food related, but sometimes I just had to throw in something that didn't. And this was Yes Anastasia. It gives me so much strength just because she was able to combine like 5 songs into one and make it work in a way. And I uh but it also just feels like it's otherworldly. That song feels like it's from another time, and that's the kind of the magic that I'm obsessed with Tori is when, like I said, Boyce Paley is a portal for me, but like, yes, Anastasia kind of gave me a taste of that stepping into another world, and I just get completely lost. And um, it just gives me so much strength. Like it's just wild to think that I can put that song on if I'm really going through it, and it just it's just endless the amount of strength and inspiration. That's what I want to tell Tori next time I meet her. It's like, you've just given me so much strength. And I mean, it's true. She really has. So, but that live performance, yes, Anastasia is because, you know, later when she does it later on, like in the 2000s, she kind of cuts the
Yeah,
intro
yeah.
out.
Yes.
She does it. She does the intro in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, next up, this is really exciting. So, in 2025, that was probably one of the hardest years I've ever had, and I was really going through it, and I was in the middle of finishing up my second cookbook, and I ran into one of my gay friends who I met in New York at the Gay Easter Parade in the French Quarter, and he's a huge Tory fan. he's a huge Tori fan, and he said, and I was like, oh my God, I've been going down a rabbit hole of like finding live performances from 96. Like that tour it just feeds me. And he said, he is like, have you seen the last show of that tour in Boulder, Colorado?
Hell yeah.
And I was like, no. He was like, you have to listen, because she did 2 nights there. You have to listen to that last show because it is electric. It's just like, and you can feel the energy of like, she's just wrapping up this world tour that was a massive success. Atlantic didn't believe in her, and she talks. And so I included that as the last video. But this next song is just a little improv from that show, and it's called Marching In. That's what they titled it. But it gives me chills just thinking about it. I would listen to this song and go on a walk, and I just would repeat it. But it's so uplifting, and
is it the one right before Pretty Good Year?
Yes.
Marching home now, going my way, something like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Going to something.
And just
to something. Yeah.
Just the piano.
I remember that.
How she's playing the piano. It's so uplifting and inspiring. And I swear I can feel the energy of her feeling defeated, feeling bad because Atlantic basically told her she made a piece of shit album. And then she's talking to the audience and being like, you guys helped me make this album a success and this tour a success. And then it went platinum. You know, it's like, it's just so funny. And but I can feel that there's so much momentum in that little tiny song. And I'm just so thankful that she does those improvs. I mean, it's so unique to her, and that she's like tapping into the energy of the audience and able to, you know, just play this like little ditty. It's wild.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really impressed that you knew exactly where that song
I
landed.
did know exactly.
Joey
I've
has
always
a
loved it.
freakish memory. Though, to be fair, that was a very, very, very famous bootleg that, you
The
know,
bootleg
probably
is super,
encoded.
super famous. Yeah.
Oh, it was? Okay, good.
DDI
Yeah,
Boulder.
Dewdrop in Boulder. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
That's probably where I started loving I'm on Fire. It had to be from, I mean, and that
So
one I can
good.
hear in my head the exact intonation of the entire one. But yes, but Joey's memory is freakish.
But
Sorry,
how
Joey.
wild is that? How wild is that, though, that I was already on the scavenger hunt of list, because I had been listening to live shows from the Dewdrop In tour. I hadn't found that one. And then I randomly run into this guy who's visiting New Orleans, and it was just the synchronicity of it all was just so cool. And so I still listen to that show all the time.
It's really good.
Okay, next one, and I feel like y'all have talked about this, but this was her version of Bells for Her on the Dewdrop In tour, where she did it with the harpsichord. And I know this is like super Boys for Pele heavy and 96 heavy, but it's just endless, the amount of strength that it gives me. And it feels like I can go find these songs, and I maybe have never heard it before, and it feels like I'm finding new music from Tori that feeds me the same way that like Boys for Pele did.
It's very New Orleans. It is. Not to say there isn't New Orleans in other music of hers, but it really is.
And then this Bells for Her with the harpsichord, it almost sounds like medieval.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's a good way to say it.
It just sounds like it's from another planet, or like she was like in the 1600s playing the song. I'm just like, and she completely redid it, and it's just so striking. And she also talks about mud pies in it, and I talk about mud pies in the introduction of my new cookbook, because that was one of the first things that I did when I was a little boy, before I really knew how to cook. But I made mud pies, and I would, out of crawfish piles, I would mix them with water and shape them, and then put them on a deck in the sun, and they would set into cookies. And I remember my mom was like, "Did you make these? These look like beautiful cookies, like they're little mud pies." So yeah, lots of connections to that, and just so impressed by her that and then she does the live version of Bells for Her when she has the band, and it's completely different and amazing, and it's just like,
she's composed and written that song like 4 times now. Yeah.
And that song is it's so haunting, and and she really was. I know she talked about it in is it Rick Beato? Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, it's Beato, yeah.
that interview she did, I've watched, that gives me so much strength too, just that because she talks about all the struggles that she's been through. But when she talked about writing that song and how it was kind of like circling around her, and she's tapping into this
Yeah.
special energy that, you know, so many people could never even dream of having. So, okay, next up, I wanted to do Here in My Head because she says apple green ice cream can
Love
melt in
it.
your hands.
Love it.
And that always stood out to me. And also, like, I've never seen, you know, green apple ice cream.
What? Really?
But I've never seen it. Have y'all?
I've seen sorbets,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not actual ice cream.
Okay, so
Yeah.
at the summer camp, it wasn't green, but the summer camp I went to, there was an Apple store and they had apple ice cream, which is like with cream and everything. So obviously I'd have to get that. It's very good.
Okay. And so, but this Here in My Head, I did steal from the Boulder, Colorado show, just because, like I said, she was just on fire with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she also in that song says, "And spring brings fresh little puddles that make it all clear." And that to me is so garden related.
Yes.
And it's just, in the way she delivers that line, oh my God, it's like chilling. It's chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up, this is fun. So we're jumping now to the 99 show in London where she performed Juarez. But in that show, she did Professional Widow, not the Merry Widow version and not with the band. And it's the only live performance I can find of her playing Professional Widow solo. Oh, you know what? I think she did it with the band though. I feel like this is the only time I've found it where she's played it like off the album, just her. Am I
It may be
crazy?
no, I think you're right. I think it's the only solo full piano full version of Widow. She may have done it at some other shows that weren't recorded. That was like a festival tour, like 99. It was like a Christmas thing. That's my memory anyway.
So she was playing that old Christmas classic, Professional Widow.
Right. So she did a few shows like that, and that's where it came out of. I'm pretty sure. I haven't listened to that in ages. That's a good recommendation.
Oh, it's on there, yeah. But just to piggyback off of that London show, I checked out other versions of Juarez, and she doesn't take it there like she did in that show in London.
It's kind of it's the best one.
I mean, oh my God, yeah, and it's still amazing. But she went there with that performance. Okay, next up, and this one was specifically for y'all, and a thank you to y'all for introducing so much to me and also inspiring me to listen to her later catalog because and I truly believe this. I think you have to be at a right time in your life to find Tori's music. And her older catalog, I'm starting to go through it now and I'm really enjoying it. And I really appreciate y'all are pushing me to do it. And I'm finding songs that I love. And so, but I do know that Choir Girl was at the top of your list. And so I don't know if y'all have seen this performance, but this was at the University of Buffalo, I believe, but it was on the Dewdrop In tour. But I think it was well into the tour, and she does this improv during sound check, but it's of Black Dove.
Yes.
Before it. Have y'all seen that?
Mm-hmm.
I remember it. I haven't listened in a while, but I do remember it.
And I just think it's kind of rare to see her, and she maybe didn't even know that it was going to become a full-fledged song, but she doesn't normally play a song that she's like practicing or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I correct in saying that? Like she normally...
Yeah.
Even back in the day, it was rare. There have been there's the improv about Goodbye Girls Electric Band, which has now come back, but that's like 25 years later. There was an instance of her playing Cooling before it was released, right? So very, very rare. And then when people would get these sound checks on recording, every so often you'd hear something. But no, I mean it's rare and it's really fun to hear that. I wish we had more of those on, on audio.
Well, I was watching an interview from I think around Native Invader time, and she was saying that every show they record, and I didn't know that. She said that she said that Mark has like records every show. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, but yes, but no, it's bullshit. Matt, do something about it.
I don't know what I can do about it, but I will tell you, Tim, when I was in Cornwall at Martian Engineering working with Tori, I had these two texting me every 3 minutes saying, how can you get into the control room and steal some masters? How
Go
can you
to
get
the-
some
Go to
you
the.
get some rarities?
We were like,
I
"Where's
was
the
being-
vault? Get the vault."
I was
I didn't
on
say
a
it.
work trip and I had these two breathing down my neck for Tori
Two
Amos
buds in your
rarities.
ear.
I'm telling you to
Yeah.
record it with your phone. Yeah, I mean, we tried.
I think that they could release a lot more if they wanted to. I'm just saying.
There's
My vote would be from Strange Little Tour if they have,
Yeah,
because it just was
that'd be good.
recorded so well. I mean, they just it was recorded so well. If they did it the same way, like, and I tried to put in this solo version of Glory from the '80s that she did in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I couldn't find it on YouTube. I'll have to send it to y'all, but and I don't think she performed that one that much on that tour. But
No.
okay, moving right along, we're going into I wanted one more thing about Professional Widows. She says peaches and cream, and so that always is like, and I have peach trees in my front yard, and there's
Aw.
peach recipes in the new book, so there's that connection.
I've also I've been heavily coveting those peaches. I've been watching your Instagram wishing I had
know.
those
Yeah,
peaches.
God.
Your
I'm in
garden is
Oregon.
incredible.
So
I'm in
good.
Oregon with no good peaches.
Oh my God! I wish you could be here right now because my tree literally has over 100, and
Ugh,
I'm
it's
like
amazing.
every day I'm just like picking and eating peaches, and the raccoons and possums are eating them, and everyone's happy. Everyone's happy except maybe my neighbors. They're like, oh God. Okay, next up, I did Mother because it's definitely one of my, probably top 5 favorite Tori songs. But when she says breadcrumbs lost under the snow, there's just something about that line. It's so like almost eerie and haunting. But breadcrumbs, they're definitely food. And but there's something scary about, or eerie about, the fact that someone was somewhere and then the snow covers it up, and then it's like it's gone, like you didn't even know they were there. And but I love Mother so much, and this performance is it's from the Strange Little Tour, and so the quality is just incredible. So you should check it out. And then it's funny because I may be a bad Tori fan, but I never studied her lyrics as a young kid. So as an adult, when I look at her lyrics, I'm like, oh, that's what she said. It's not like, 'cause a lot of the stuff I was like making up in my head.
Yeah, sure.
But I had no idea in the next song, Tallulah, that she said balancing cake and bread.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know she said that's what she was saying. So, but I wanted to put this Tallulah. This recording was from Strange Little Tour, and then she did it on is it the Whirly? Is that the name of the instrument?
The Wurlitzer, yeah.
Wurlitzer.
But she completely redoes the song, and it sounds nothing like the original, and it is it's an electric performance. I remember I showed my friend, and then she named her dog Tallulah because of this live version. Okay, then next
Amazing.
up, I'm fast forwarding way to a later song, but I actually fell in love with the song because of the Rick Beato interview, and it's Flowers Burn to Gold.
Oh.
And it's such a beautiful song, and there's a sadness to it. And I know flowers burn to gold could mean different things to different people, but in my garden, there is a moment where a flower will shrivel up in the fall, and like in the golden light in the afternoon, it can look gold and dried up, and then you can save it, and you can save the seeds, and you can replant them. But there is, that's what it means to me. But I love that song. and I loved how she performed it. I think that was on Ocean to Ocean when she did that one. And then this one, I don't know if she's played this live yet, but Blue Lotus from the new album. Have y'all seen?
She hasn't done it yet. We love it. We're obsessed with it.
We do love it.
So good.
So from the new album, Gasoline Girls and Blue Lotus are like, I'm just blown away. But Blue Lotus was a full circle moment for me because she brings the harpsichord in on it.
Yes.
And I just love it. I love how she uses a deep voice, like a lower voice that I haven't really heard from her.
Mhm.
And it's just really, really powerful. And I love the concept of like a Blue Lotus just opening up and so yeah, so I really wanted to put that. And then the last two is the radio. So this playlist, you can listen to it like as songs, but then these last two are quite different because it's the radio interview where she does Blood Roses on the piano. And this was like in January of 96. So this was like before everything, she was going out on tour. But I do think it's worth listening to. And she does talk about recording the album in New Orleans a little bit on that interview. And then she does Blood Roses on the piano, which is just stellar because you can really hear the song. And then the last video I included is the whole show from Boulder. Just because any diehard Tori fan has to listen to that show.
Agree.
I firmly believe that.
It's a seminal performance.
Yes.
Love this playlist, and I know you said a little bit earlier that you apologized for making it Boys for Pele heavy, but if you did see our last episode where we ranked Boys for Pele number 5, so this is making up for it for a lot of people who are listening tonight to hear a lot of Boys for Pele content. This is
It's
for
not
those
number
people.
5 in my heart. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And I think
Wow.
and Blue Lotus, it like feels like it could be in the Boys for Pele world. So like I like thinking about that too.
Well, and it's funny. Go ahead.
I was just going to say same as Provincetown because of the harpsichord, but also the feeling of the percussion and the shifts and the element of surprise in both of those songs. I think harken back to Pele.
I ranked it number 3.
Well, and piggybacking off all that too, I feel like Gasoline Girls kind of reminds me a little bit of that vibe you were saying with I have to look at my notes with, I want to say Hamburger Maid, but Daisy Dead Petals.
Yeah.
Totally.
Kind of that. Yeah. It's really fascinating to hear the older Tori come through in these newer songs. And
yes,
there's like a spirit, there's a spirit to all the albums and they live in this newer work, and it's fascinating. And she applies that to her when she reworks a song. I love to tell people, like, if you go see Tori live, like, she could do a song and has a completely new life to it. And that's the magic of live Tori. And you may not even, you don't know it until you go to the show and you're like, holy shit. Like,
that's right.
But yeah, so that's the playlist.
And that is exactly why we need to see 52 shows per tour.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Precisely.
Well, I'm really happy that y'all are going to see multiple shows. I think I might have to tack on some more.
We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it before, but also when I'll be in New Orleans together, and so like we'll hang out. We're gonna come eat some peaches. Well, Joey and I can't eat the cat because we're allergic, but
Sad. I can wave to it.
Oh, are y'all allergic?
I'm like bad.
I'm allergic to cats. Yeah.
I'm like
bad.
So
you can't stay with. So you can't stay with me. Y'all were welcome to stay with me.
That's really sweet of you, but
Thank
Kristen
you.
and I might die.
No, I literally I have an EpiPen. I have an EpiPen.
All due respect to Chi-Chi.
I know Chi-Chi's like Chi-Chi's over here giving me side eye, like whatever.
I know it's a really inconvenient allergy. Okay, that playlist was excellent, and I know
that was really
that, like,
really good.
You put so much time and thought into it, and I love that it's like both. It's like what drives. There's just a lot of like what drives you, but also like the drive in her that inspires you. You know what I mean? It's all very full circle.
You asked us to do a live hidden gem episode, but I think you just started it. I think you just.
That's true. You
We could
did.
have you on for it. It sounds like your research is going quite well, and you're finding all the
You
good
told
stuff.
us what to do, and then you did it.
That's
Exactly.
true. That
I know.
blood roses.
You gave us an example. Yeah.
That blood
I
roses.
actually thought of that. I was like, because I've told
just done that.
Kristen and Joey before, like, y'all should do a Hidden Jewels, and then it's like, look at me, I just fucking did it.
That's
like,
great though.
Yes.
We can go deeper
But
on that.
there's so
I
much
actually think we
more.
should. Yeah.
Barely scratched the
And-
surface. Yeah.
And what I want to do, I tried to hone it in because I wanted to tie in like these past few years writing my new cookbook and my connection with, living in New Orleans and Boys for Play that. But this list could go on. And I'm also excited to explore, and I have been listening to her later live performances, and they're just as powerful and amazing. It's a treasure trove. And I'm so thankful in 2026. And I know y'all talked about this with like listening to Venus and Back, and you were like picking up on newer things, but these remasterings and these and the
know.
quality of things and the access to thing, it's like, I mean, remember when in the 90s, it's like we were collecting B-sides that were falling apart, and I had a scratch CD, and I remember I had the VHS of all of her music videos up until that point. But I mean, y'all have to understand, I make a pot of coffee and I'm watching interviews of Tori,
That's Joey.
from 1990.
We
That's
can all
Joey.
I
relate.
just love it.
Hey.
Her interviews give me so much strength,
No,
and
you're
she
right, you're
always
right.
has good advice.
She does.
She always has good
She really-
advice.
I think
she said one thing. Go
I
ahead.
think it also depends on the interviewer, though, right? Because she can get with an interviewer that doesn't get her or hasn't done their homework
Yeah.
or just might be sort of oblivious to certain facts, and those interviews aren't really giving. But
Yeah.
when you get the thing that's really cool is, and Joey and I are a part of this group of people too, but when you get people who are huge fans who start interviewing her, and people who are big fans in the press start talking about her work, then you have a whole shift in that conversation, because you've got people who really know what they're talking about doing these interviews, and they're bringing that perspective of being a fan and knowing what other fans want to hear from her in a conversation, which I think is great. But when she has that, like, maybe that rare interview where the interviewer rubs her the wrong way or says something weird, you can just tell the air kind of goes out of the room.
I
Yeah.
saw it with that guy. I think it was in late 90s. She did an interview, and he definitely, she seems a little uncomfortable. I'm sure y'all know who I'm talking about. He was wearing a suit, and she in the interview, she said she was an ant.
That's Charlie Rose.
Gross.
Yeah, she said she was an
Yeah.
ant fucker in the interview because she cares about the details. And but I remember you could tell. I don't know if he did a lot of research because he was kind of I don't know.
Let me tell you something about Charlie Rose.
Okay.
Charlie Rose never prepared for shit. So I worked for many, many years in New York as a publicist, and I would bring clients through, and his producers would do all of the work and basically just sort of like flop some stuff in front of him that he looked at for 2 seconds. This isn't just like Tori related, but this was anybody who came through. So
You could tell.
yeah, and
But
I mean,
she seemed really prepared and ready to go. Like,
yeah, because she's a great conversationalist.
What I took away is he was like, should you really care about the attention to details? And she said they matter.
and her
And that-
face. You know what I'm talking
That really, yeah,
She's like,
I remember.
they matter. I took that, like I do with all of our interviews. I take a little nugget of wisdom from her. And because I go back and forth with my editors because I take all my own pictures, and I took all the pictures for the new book. And it's like, if it can't be perfect, then we're not putting it in. It's just like, and if I can't have it, and there was issues with the design happening, and it's like, I know the vision, and don't get in my way. And if you're going to get in my way, then we're going to have to change it up because it's, but it's all about the attention to details. 100%.
sounds like a redhead we know.
What I'm hearing is it's not a democracy in your world. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
Oh my goodness.
Can you, when is your next book coming out?
Yeah.
So the next book is coming out September 1st. And that's actually a good segue because as I was working on this project, as y'all know, I felt a deep connection to Tori and her creative process, like in particular with Voice for Pele. And I knew deep down that I wanted to ask her if she would write like a blurb, a quote for the book, but I was really scared to, just because, you know, it's that whole thing, like, and she's already given me so much, and like I already got to the thing that happened with the first book, and I didn't want her to think I was coming across as like greedy. It's like I just felt a little icky, but the spirit of Garden Variety demanded that I ask her. And I was like, you know, GV, I can't do this. She's my hero. Like, I'm just too nervous. And they said, that's exactly why you have to.
Oh,
You have to ask her because
I love
of that.
that.
And so I did. And she said yes.
Yay.
And she wrote a quote for the back cover. And I remember I sent John like a PDF of like the book with like, it was in Latin, just like random. And I was like, this is exactly where I want to put it. Like, I want Tori to have like this real estate. And so I emailed John, and he was like, let me present this to Tori. And then, and you know, it's like, I didn't want to bug anybody,
Yeah.
but you know, I also know, I've learned in my career, like, you have to ask for things. Like,
Yeah.
no one's just going to do something for you.
Yeah, you don't get it if you don't ask for it.
So I presented it. I sent like a PDF of the book, and then it was around January, and I was starting to get nervous that it wasn't going to happen. And then on the 30th anniversary of Voice for Pele, the blurb came in.
Wow.
And my editor sent
Whoa.
me the blurb, and it was just, y'all get it, but it was just such a crazy moment. I wrote this huge email to my editors, like, you don't understand, like, this happened on like the day that Voice for Pele came out. Like, it was wild. But I just really wanted her to be a part of this book, and I wanted her to know that she is a part of it, and she'll be a part of it forever. And on top of that, because I'm crazier than a bed bug, I knew deep down, I was like, I had to do something even more special. So I was looking at the Voice for Pele liner notes, and I saw that she thanked like the community of Bro Bridge, and I knew that she had shot the album artwork in Louisiana. But then I found out Bro Bridge. So then I found on Reddit that they had an exact place to go where she shot the piano on fire outside of the gas station. So I drove to Bro Bridge and went to this location, and I drove around and I took pictures, and I came back home and I looked through the pictures, and I was like, you know, no. And I went back and I took more pictures, and then I landed on a really beautiful picture of some native wildflowers that kind of gave me the energy of Tori and Boys for Pele. And I decided to put it in the book as kind of a secret. I know I'm telling y'all in like the whole podcast, but I'm going to tell her in person.
Yeah,
But
she's gonna love it.
Yeah.
the whole book was created in New Orleans, but I wanted there to be a photograph that just symbolically represented her and her strength and the strength that she's given me. So whenever she cooks from the book, she knows that she's a part of it. And
Oh, that's so
I
nice.
fucking love that. That's so good.
Wow.
That's so sweet.
She's gonna
so
love that.
And I want to tell her, but I'm worried I'm gonna like mess it up. So I might just like write her a letter
I was
and
gonna
put it
say
in the
write
book.
it. Like, tell her if you
Okay.
can, but also
Or
write
send
it.
the episode of this podcast with the timestamp when the time comes.
Don't do that.
No.
Well, and I didn't want to show y'all. I think I've showed Kristen the picture,
saw
but
it.
I told her not to show anyone. But I want whoever gets the book, I want y'all to maybe try to guess which picture it is, because the whole book, and I took every single picture except for the childhood portrait, which my dad took.
I love that.
But it was important for me. So the whole book was created in New Orleans, except for this one picture, which was taken in Bro Bridge. So yeah, so it's like a little Tori secret, and I can't wait
It's a
to.
little
What an
Easter
Easter
egg.
egg. Yeah.
She's
Check-
gonna love that. She
Yeah.
might cry a little bit. She
I
might
think
cry a
so.
little.
Really? Oh,
I don't know. I would. I almost cried. It's not
I'd be
even
like,
me.
like I made Tori cry. It's like I honestly be like, well, you deserve it because you've made me cry like my whole life.
I know. I
But in
know.
a beautiful way. But yeah, so it those two things were just cherries on top of the whole process. But I definitely, while I was, and I'll show you the cover. This is like an advanced copy. The rest of the copies are coming on a boat. They have to ship it on a boat because they're so heavy. But I actually was in deciding the cover. It was going to be either a light green, like a seafoam green, or this orange. And I had two prototypes on the counter. So every time I came downstairs in the morning and made coffee, I could look at them. And it was neck and neck on which one they would be. And I have so many pictures of Tori framed and hanging in the house, but I have this one shot of her from, I think it's the Professional Widow single, where she has that bright orange red hair
Yeah.
and she has on that red lipstick and she's just like giving a little smirk. And I was like questioning, should it be the green or the orange? And I looked at that and I was like, what would Tori do? It has to be orange.
Yeah.
We
you
know it
know?
would be fade to red, baby. I love that.
Do you think she's wearing Shiseido red in that picture?
Maybe.
Because it's so funny. I didn't even realize she was saying Shiseido red until I started watching the Kevin Aquan documentaries, and then I was like, "Oh, Shiseido," and then it made
It's a
sense.
brand. It's a brand. Like Shiseido has many reds. So yeah, maybe.
That's so exciting. That's so
know.
exciting that they made it happen and that she's a part of this book. And we will make sure and share the link to order or pre-order the book with our audience so they can all
right.
Yes,
get
for
into
sure.
this mix as
Amazing.
well. I mean, I love Mississippi Vegan too. I mean, it's such a iconic classic cookbook. So I'm excited for your success. I'm excited that you're a Tori fan, and I'm excited you're a friend now. This is great.
Yes.
Yeah. Co-signed.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I have to thank y'all because, you know, I think the first 2 years creating this book, I was in such a happy place. Like I had my first installment hit, so my money was good. The garden was like looking incredible. And it was like a fairy tale. Every day I was waking up, like I get to make recipes from the garden and take pictures and it was so magical. But then 2025 came in, you know, the money had dried up from the installment and the design wasn't working out with the initial designer, and it just kind of felt like everything was crumbling. And my mental health was, to be honest, wasn't great. And then I found y'all's podcast and it was such a bright light because, and I think I found the podcast because I watched so many YouTube videos of live Tori performances. It's like, we think you'll like this. But then I find y'all, and then, you know, I develop a parasocial relationship with y'all, and you know, I found y'all on YouTube, but I started listening to the podcast on Spotify when I would go on walks. And so my walks would consist of listening to live Tori performances and then the podcast.
That's amazing.
It gave me so much strength, and I just need y'all to know that it's so special what you're doing, and it's it just speaks to the expansiveness of Tori's creative world, that we could just sit here and talk about her hours on end, and it's so fascinating. And y'all have really cultivated a special place, and I feel like y'all are like the modern thedent.com, like to me. Because, you know, you touch upon the tour, you know, the new material and the tours, and it's like a little hub. It's a hub. So
Good.
That's so nice of
really
you to say,
enjoyed it.
Timmy. Thank you.
That's really
so
a nice
glad.
compliment. Thank
Really
you.
nice.
Yeah, and I just love that this friendship came out of it. I'm so glad you
Yeah.
like the show, but I'm so proud to have you on, and I'm just so happy that we're all friends now, and I can't wait for us to all see Tori in New Orleans, which is one of the
So
coolest
soon.
cities in the country, and it's so soon.
And it should be said too. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the connectiveness of Tori and how she connects people, and certainly that's what it's like for our little community of people who love Tori Amos. Like, she's been a great connector of people, like introducing people to other people of like mind. And I think that's pretty flabbergasting, you know, given how different we all are, given how everyone's flung to different corners of the world. Like, we have this thing that's very specific at the center of all of our friendships that sort of connects us and unifies us. I think that's very that in itself is super inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it goes back to that meet and greet that I went to, and I saw the friendships and the bond, and I feel like I'm able to do that now, and I'm doing it with y'all, and going to see her in New Orleans with y'all. It's just I've told Kristen this before, but when I started seeing her and I was following her and going to the shows, it was the first time in my life where I felt like I was living. I really felt like I was like alive. And I still feel that. I feel that when just thinking about going to see her in New Orleans, and when I saw her last time, I feel like I'm living. And we have to be collectively so thankful that we have this passion inside of us, because a lot of people don't. They never find something that means something like this to them. And I've talked to people that are like, oh, I don't really like music. And I'm like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I know.
But people have told me that.
Yeah.
And then I think I had someone who, you know, maybe teased me a little bit about like my love for Tori. And I was like, oh no, don't. I was like, if you had something that meant something to you as much as Tori did, you wouldn't make a joke about it. But you don't have something, so you need to shut your mouth.
Ow.
Don't even. Yeah, no, don't. You don't go there. You don't go there with Tori and me. Like, she's you know, she's like more than family. She's like a goddess fairy mother. You know,
I'm
Yeah.
glad
she
you
really is.
I'm glad you told that person to shush themselves down now.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
He
I had
learned.
to.
He learned.
He learned.
He learned
He
quick.
learned.
Yeah, he learned. He got it. Yeah, I call it. I tell people I put him on ice. He went into the deep freezer for a couple of days.
Oh,
so.
shit.
But I don't
So
think he
good.
understood. I don't think he understood how much
They don't
Tori meant to
usually.
me.
They don't get it.
And yeah, so they don't get it, but
It's
he does
true.
now.
Now he knows. I think that's a
Well,
fun note to
yeah.
maybe end this episode on. This has been so great. Timmy, thank you for your work. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
and
being
your-
complimentary of our work. Thank you for
Yeah,
listening.
thank you.
Nice.
And your approach to your playlist is really just so fascinating. And thank you for putting all that work and time into it.
Oh my God, of course. I wanted to make y'all proud, and
did.
I wanted to make your listeners I wanted to share something with them that I think that hopefully there's something in there that they haven't heard, and it'll strike a chord with them and change their life like it has mine, because they really have. And so, and I thank you so much for having me. It's been such a full circle moment, because I truly started listening to this as a fan, and then, you know, became friends, and now I'm here and we're doing this. And I just think all going to the show in New Orleans is going to be such a sweet cherry on top of everything. I'm just so thrilled.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all. This is great.
Yeah. Make sure you like, subscribe,
Yes.
interact, all of that,
Yeah.
share,
5
repost,
stars.
whatever
You
the
can
kids are
find-
doing. Yeah.
Right? You can find Timothy at Mississippi Vegan on
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Follow
Mississippi
for-
Vegan.
Follow for massive peach envy.
That's right.
Yeah. Follow for
Episode
new
title.
recipe inspiration. Follow for more obscure Tori performances in my stories.
Ooh.
And then MississippiVegan.com has a whole bunch of free recipes, and you can learn more
That's
about the
awesome.
book there. And yeah, it's an exciting time.
Okay. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you for
See you
coming.
in a month. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah,
Good night.
see you in a month. Bye.
Yes. Good night, y'all.
like